It's a Tuesday night, and you know what that means here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Mark Rogers is not around. Welcome back to the 36th edition of Florida State Football Live. I'm Jason Parker, live from the headquarters of, well, my life down here in Pembroke Pines, down South Florida, and in Tallahassee. Logan Robinson from Knoll Game Day. Logan, welcome back for another edition with us. And you're on time this time. We appreciate it, man.
Man, on time, and I was here like 3 minutes before showtime, but Jason, took a couple minutes to get me out of backstage and through the system. But I will say that I did make it on time. I do feel good. I am still eating a little snack here, it's a little salad, and ready to talk a lot of Florida State sports because it has been an incredibly busy day. It has been a lot of news.
I'll admit I made fun of your salad a little bit. Can you show the people your salad?
I'm literally still eating it. I would add more, but remember I'm in college, so I don't need to really add more. I just need the leaves and a good dressing.
I mean, I would add some chicken, maybe some nice anti-pasta salad or something.
I just had Alfredo chicken for lunch. I made that. I made grilled Alfredo chicken.
All right. Well, for those of you here, we've got our food channel feed here on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I had seafood salad for dinner, so there we go. So there's our dinner situation here.
Okay.
Real quick, obviously the big story in the sports world this week, before we talk about Florida State, is the tragic death of Kobe Bryant, the Lakers star, his daughter, and 7 others obviously died in a horrific helicopter crash on Sunday in California. Both Logan and I are in the age group to where we watched Kobe dominate on the basketball court, win championship after championship for the Lakers. Just, Logan, what were your thoughts when you heard the news about Kobe Bryant's passing?
It was tough because, that's a household name, and I was just enjoying a nice, relaxed Sunday, getting ready for the new week, and I think I was eating lunch, and just checked my phone, and, it was TMZ, what came up first, and I wasn't at all trying. I think it was more of not trying to believe it whatsoever that it was really true coming. And so just continue to refresh and find different reports. And then it started coming really true that indeed that he had passed in a horrific helicopter crash. And then an hour or two later, learning that his daughter was also on board and the others too, but his daughter was also on board, 13-year-old, probably, the next up and coming one that was going to carry that legacy of Kobe Bryant, the talent that she had on her own, and was going to go to UConn and everything. And her also being on the helicopter is just devastating. This is going to be a terrible week. It hasn't been a pretty happy last couple of days whatsoever. And it's such a hit on not only what he left the basketball world, but what he was about to do. He's only 41 years old. And I was actually really excited to see what his next act was going to be off the court. And already has started. It's already started in so many ways. And I think a lot of people, reporters wise, people that knew him, just know that there was going to be just a great second act of his that was going to, he was trying to change how a lot of things were being ran and try to support women's basketball and try to promote that and, give them the respect that they deserve. And it's just tough. And even if you're not a big basketball person, I'm not a huge NBA person, but, Kobe Bryant, if you love sports, you most certainly watched his last game as a Laker. About his stat line, his championships with Shaq. It's just terrible start to the week.
Yeah, Sunday was horrific. Getting woken up with a text message saying, "This is what happened. This is work." And I'm with you. It was a gut wrench. I know neither one of us have children yet, but the gut wrench of thinking what happened there in the final moments, not just with Kobe and with Gianna, but also 7 other people on board. It was just a horrific moment. Hopefully, I think I speak for everyone in the FSU family, everyone here, you, me, Mark, and everyone. Just, our prayers are with all those families, and just hopefully they can find some strength and hopefully things can happen. But we are going to turn the table now. And before we turn the table, just a quick shout out to SEC Dog. It's the 2 FSU homers, JP and Bud Light Logan. He is up to Bud Light, so congratulations. You are a Bud Light Logan now.
I've upgraded from Natty Light to Natty Ice to now Bud Light. Things are getting better. I'm getting older. I'm getting closer to graduating. Here we are.
Well, Bud Light Logan, it has been a big week in Tallahassee. The Seminoles, who hasn't committed to the Seminoles? Four different verbal commitments made to head coach Mike Norvell in just the last 4 days. What do you talk to us about what's going on there in Tallahassee?
Seems like things are hot. Let me close the store real quick because this cat is going to continue to go in and out. But
Shout out
it's been hot right now. Yeah, we don't need Gilly messing up the camera tonight. But Florida State has been hot right now. I wouldn't say, you're not bringing in 4-5 stars, blah, 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 but you're filling the needs that need to be filled. Norvell has started off quickly, we know, right when he was hired, trying to focus on that running back department and also offensive line. And Florida State actually was able to land quite a bit of guys these last 48 hours. And I'm going to take you, let's see here if I can bring down my list of a few guys that we can go over.
While Logan's doing that, just point out the Florida State Seminoles are currently up 8-2 over Virginia right now in the basketball game.
8-2, okay. Not a bad start at Virginia, too.
At Virginia. All right, back to Logan.
So we can start off with one of these, and we can kind of give our thoughts if we want. But the latest one coming from an athletic tight end, he's also a basketball player. This is going to be Darion Williamson, and hopefully I'm getting this name right. There's making sure I get the right ones. Yep. He's actually not ranked on 247 Sports, so if you're going to look there, you're not going to find anything. But this guy is going to help fill in some needs there depth-wise, and he's also the teammate of another commit that just joined earlier today, which I'm sure we'll talk about. They're both teammates in high school. He's 6'5", 255 pounds. He actually started playing football during his senior season, where he spent time at tight end and defensive end. Prior to football, Douglas was focused on basketball. He's played for Team THAD in the AAU circuit, which was started by NBA player Thaddeus Young, and they usually participate in high-profile tournaments. So very talented, also basketball player coming in. I think football-wise, it's still some raw talent that will continue to have to be coached. But I think Florida State is pretty happy about this. But coming in, you're getting a pretty talented basketball guy. You're getting a two-sport athlete. You want any thoughts on him?
Go ahead.
Stud. I think that it's a big boy, 6'5", 255. Obviously, you already have the size frame. And it's going to be pretty interesting coaching wise and how they're going to be able to develop him. And this is something with the whole staff as a whole, that might be able to be, you can be more optimistic about than maybe the last staff. This coming in, this staff is very good on what they've done in recent history with being able to develop players, some that are not even high talent, coming out of, whatever you want to rank them from 247, 4-star, 5 stars, being able to develop 3 stars, guys under that. And you bring in a guy like this that is still raw, that is going to have to be coached up and still got some learning to do. But you bring in a guy that obviously is very talented basketball wise. Florida State lands a pretty interesting prospect today.
Now,
let's see here.
My question,
go ahead.
We go on now. Obviously, Florida State has done, I think, very decent under Mike Norvell and under the coaching staff that's been brought in. How important is it for him to have that solid class and get that good foundation heading into 2020 at a 2020 schedule that we're going to talk about later? Already looks killer.
Yeah, a lot of people are kind of, I don't know why they are, but some people are complaining about this class. And, all right, well, which we'll get to, Damari Tate, who was just a 4-star. He just, at the final class rankings of 247 Sports, they put out today that he's going to be a 5-star. People shouldn't be so all losing their minds about this class if it isn't magnificent or isn't filling everything. Mike Norvell and staff have done as much as they can with what was left on the market to grab and bring in to start building a foundation. That the 2021 class, that's all up to Mike Norvell. That's all up to the rest of the staff on what they want to do and how they're going to build that. And that's all up to them. What they had to do with what the circumstances they were given was to try and build a staff and also build a staff that can recruit and also keep some recruits that were already committed to Florida State already, like Demore Tate. Keeping Demore Tate is huge for FSU, and that this is only shows what the staff is able to do in that quick of time. Chubba Purdy also increases in a ranking to a quarterback. And I believe Tate Roadmaker got a slight bump up too. But, you're able to land a guy who now actually Chubba Purdy is ranked over Florida's highest quarterback commit. So Mike Norvell is able to nab in a 2-week span the highest ranked quarterback commit out of Florida. And it's pretty interesting.
And you hate to see us topping the Gators in anything. You hate to.
It's so terrible. I feel bad, and it'd feel even worse if it was Miami too. But they got to slip away.
So tragic here. Now, obviously, for the guys coming in, to guys who are heading out, we're going to talk about two different players. First off, the latest news just breaking within the last hour that Kyle Myers, a defensive back for the Seminoles, is transferring back home to Tulane. He's a Louisiana native. He'll be transferring to play at Tulane. What are your thoughts on that move?
This one's not entirely too shocking. I think I'm sure we've noted on him in the last how many episodes we've done on here, but also I know we've talked about on our podcast, and this isn't really too shocking to me. I think it's good for him too. I think he is talented. He's a smaller, very small DB. And I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Norvell and staff had a meeting with him and told him, what they're looking for in 2020 and who might be stepping in place in front of him. And that's kind of just been the way for him throughout his career at Florida State. So I don't think this is by far on the FSU side. I don't think this is a loss. And I think it's good for Kyle Myers and his career. And I wish him the best because I know he's a good guy. He's had to fight through a lot of depth situation. Like I said, he's a smaller guy. And I wish him the best. I think he's talented. And I think hopefully he'll be able to play very soon, if not right away, in Tulane.
Yeah, I wish him the best. And I mean, it's good to see he's going to get a chance to at least play closer to his home in the New Orleans area. Now, I'm going to say, shout here to Kyle Pickett, who brings up our next topic of conversation. I think Keith Gavin said it correctly. So, former FSU wide receiver Keith Gavin, who I was shocked to find out actually was a member of the team in 2019, from the way he basically never lived up to his hype as a recruit, except for one play in the Orange Bowl against Michigan, that Keith Gavin made comments where he took what I would call a shot at former coach Willie Taggart, saying he would have considered FSU under Taggart. Obviously, Gavin was one of the final classes under that esteemed leader, Jimbo Fisher. What do you think here? Is it time, if I'm supposed to stop making fun of Jimbo, I told you need to stop making fun of Willie. We're calling a truce here. What do you think here? What do you think is going through Keith's mind as he's trying to get ready for his future, probably XFL career?
This one's tough because obviously, like you said, Keith has had a career that, coming in. I mean, I played against him here in high school. He was just different than all of us. I mean, he was stupidly athletic, stupidly fast. And he was 4-star wide receiver, very talented local product, wanted to play at FSU fan from the get-go. And, throughout his career, just inconsistent, dropping balls, miscommunications with the quarterbacks. And then obviously there's been 3 coaching changes, really 2, but you go from Jimbo to Willie Taggart, and it's kind of like a 180 in how they ran their programs, Colt, and how they did it from the inside to out. Taggart was more of a player's coach more than anything. He wanted to build those relationships, be more friendly with them than what Jimbo was. Jimbo was more of a strict guy and, screw off if you're not doing this. And I mean, reporters would see that right at practice. I saw it firsthand too with even Dalvin Cook, but you just kind of have that mentality. And anyways, what he noted on Keith Gavin talking about Willie Taggart, that he didn't come here to play for Willie Taggart. He didn't come here to, pretty much say dance and mess around and play around. And he's also noted straight up that the practices weren't as intense as Jimbo Fisher's. And that doesn't shock me one bit. We've been told that since almost day one. There was a lot of kind of joking around. The activities and also the drills that they were running were different than Jimbo, and that doesn't really shock me whatsoever because we heard it. I've heard from multiple guys, Telvin Smith, Jacoby McDaniel, Carlos Williams on our podcast, that Jimbo's practices were intense. They were not nice. They were mean. And that's just how they were. And that's how they were able to be a championship caliber. It was very strict. And I'm sure, whenever Heath Gavin came in, he was probably expecting the same thing. But, things changed. Up to Texas A&M, Jimbo goes. And now Willie Taggart comes in, and it's just not the same, and it's different. And I think you're going to kind of see, I don't know. I think you're going to kind of see, talking about Mike Norvell, I think it's going to kind of be maybe a mix of both, but it's going to be more on the Jimbo side than anything and how it's going to be ran. I don't think he's going to be as strict and mean, but I think there's going to be some guidelines, and there's going to be lines that you're not going to be able to cross, or you're just not going to be able to be at Florida State.
I'm not against what Keith Gavin said, and he has every right to say it. I just think he should have had more than 71 catches in 4 seasons in his career in Tallahassee with a whopping touchdown during his time. So I think Keith Gavin, if he's going to be disappointed with the way things are for Willie Taggart, we should have a right to be disappointed for the way he played for 4 seasons in Tallahassee. But thanks for setting up that winning touchdown against Michigan. Thanks for doing one play during your time in Tallahassee.
Man, a lot of heat.
Because I feel like there's way too much venom going on. I'll admit that I'm guilty of it towards the most overrated coach in college football history, Jimbo Fisher. But it's Willie, and if I can't make fun of Jimbo, then no one else can make fun of Willie. Deal?
Yeah. No,
Norvell train from this point on.
It is the Norvell. The Taggart stuff has got to be let go. And it is what it is. It was just not a good hire for Florida State. Do we agree on that?
What, Jimbo Fisher? I think Jimbo Fisher was an overrated hire. So
I did not say that.
Moving on to the 2020 season, the first season of the Mike Norvell era in Tallahassee, and the schedule obviously came out last Wednesday morning. And we'll go through it here game by game, and I'm going to tell you right off the top, I am not a fan of it. I am a little concerned at the way the schedule starts. So let's take a look at that right now. We'll start, obviously, in the month of September, and this is the part that I don't like. We knew that Florida State's first 3 games were going to be West Virginia in Atlanta on September 5th, Samford in the home opener on September 12th, and at Boise State on September 19th in the first true road game of the season. Then the ACC decided that just like the 2015 season, 3 weeks is perfect time for a bye week, and Florida State will get their only bye week of the 2020 season in week 4 on September 26th. They're off. So, Logan, what are your thoughts on those first 3 games, and are you as nervous as me about having a bye week that early?
I am. And there was some talk that Florida State wanted this one. I don't know. I think it kind of just is kind of, I don't know. I don't buy that one bit. Maybe Florida State was forced with having to pick something like this, but this go around, Florida State is kind of screwed a little bit with having this early bye week. Obviously, starting off against West Virginia, you're most likely there could be a chance that you might trot out a true freshman in that game in a neutral site. I think we both predicted that maybe Blackman would still be the starter, but I feel I'm starting to sway a different way. But you know what? Things will change. I think that who knows who will even be on campus then. But West Virginia, I'm not. It's between, and I don't think we've even gotten to like if that's going to be a Labor Day or if that's going to be like what time of day or whatever. Blah blah blah. But that's honestly interesting game for a new coach coming in Atlanta. Obviously, we were just in Atlanta in 2017 against Alabama. And if Nooney Murray would have gotten that pass interference call when he was trying to score the touchdown there, it might have been a different story in the end. I don't know. But, yeah, so.
Alabama.
Against Alabama. What'd I say?
No, I'm saying it was Alabama.
Oh, it was Alabama. Yeah.
We lost 24-7. Let's calm down. Going back to this year.
Yep. And then Samford, and then obviously Boise State going to Boise State. And that one's kind of being conflicted. That's going to be a morning game and whatnot. But then you have a bye week, and then you go at NC State, and then you bring in Clemson. So you don't have a bye week. I don't know. I mean, has it been successful for Florida State the last couple of years to have a bye week before facing Clemson? I say, if you beat NC State at NC State, keep riding momentum, then it is what it is. You're facing Clemson, and I mean, it's not going to be an easy matchup whatsoever. No one's predicting Florida State to win that game. Looking ahead right now,
You're
but
looking ahead. You're looking ahead. We're still talking about September. You're already in our October schedule.
I'm already heading on, man. I'm just ready. I mean, it's such an early bye week. I'm grinding over here.
Now, in 2015, we had the bye week after the Friday night game against Boston College in week 4. Going back to that moment and going back to that season, what were your thoughts there? And do you think that affected the team? Obviously, that was right after we had lost in 24 after the 29-game winning streak. We lose to Oregon, and then we have that week game against Georgia Tech. We lose to a Houston team we probably should have beaten the Peach Bowl. How do you think having that early bye week kind of hampered Florida State during that time, and can you see it happening now?
Possibly. It's just so hard it's so hard predicting stuff, because we did this last year too, predicting things that are going to happen, and maybe now it's even worse with having a new staff and predicting how Mike Norvell is and how he can adapt, and what's better. Do they do better with not having a bye week, and it's good to keep the momentum and keep on going like that? I've always, even playing football, and it was just in high school, but I always enjoyed just week after week, just play. I didn't enjoy having breaks, because then it kind of messes up your flow and the way you're working every week. And I would think it kind of goes, I know you obviously, the biggest key for having bye weeks is you want to have guys be able to heal and bring back guys that are maybe suffering through some injuries. But if there's momentum there and you got guys healthy, I don't know. I mean, the bye weeks before Clemson haven't done too much. Like I said earlier, I don't really. It's just too early. I do think the bye week is a little bit too early for FSU, without a doubt. But it kind of is. Suck it up, and you just got to get ready. And I trust that Mike Norvell has got a staff that can be capable of getting ready and keeping guys keen on having the bye week early, and then getting ready to ride out the rest of the season.
Now, obviously, after the bye week, Florida State will be back in action for all 5 weekends in the month of October, starting off with that game at the House of Horrors, known as Carter Finley Stadium, as they take on the NC State Wolfpack, followed by back-to-back home games against Clemson, Wake Forest, and then to Louisville before the Halloween Day game against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh coming to Tallahassee for the first time since I believe it was the early 80s, Dan Marino quarterbacking the Panthers at that time. Now, there's a legitimate chance, and not being the pessimist here, but there is a legitimate chance Florida State could be, once again, 3-3 by the midpoint of the season. If they lose early on in that West Virginia Boise State span, there's a decent chance they could lose back-to-back games to NC State and Clemson, and could be 3-3. How much, if Florida State does do that, just like they have been the last 2 seasons, how much of a break do you think Mike Norvell is going to get that, I'm sorry to say, Willie Taggart didn't?
I don't see it happening, but if that were to happen, I think this town would kind of just move on to basketball full time. There would no longer be anybody in stands in Tallahassee. They would rather go root for FAMU, the Rattlers.
On a side note, 12-8 Knowles, 10:30 to go in this first half.
Oh, thank you. But I don't see that happening. But if it were, like I said, Rattler strike, Leonard Hamilton, this is now his university. I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be the same way as Willie Taggart, no matter what. I mean, you're 3-3 heading in like that. It's just terrible momentum for FSU. But I don't even want to speak that, because I'm pretty optimistic so far from what we've had, from what we've seen from national reporters everywhere, say that Florida State has made the best hire this year over some of the bigger names that have been thrown around in the country to different spots. Mike Norvell was the top hire from multiple places, and his track record and the staff that he's brought in, and not only on field but off the field, and where they want to kind of start building this program back. It's going to take a while. It's not like Florida State's going to have a 9-3 run. They could, but I don't think that's going to happen. But I don't think Florida State starting off the season like that is what's going to happen. I think also they might surprise a few teams early in the season. This isn't what the Florida State was. This isn't what had been here before. This is a good coach team and they could surprise a few people and beat them more than maybe a lot of people predict.
So, being the optimist with our next question here, legitimately, there is a chance, and we're always going to look at the glass half full at times here. There is a chance Florida State could also be undefeated by the time they play Clemson, and that could be a matchup of undefeated teams on October 10th in Tallahassee. Do you think that is legitimate? Do you think Florida State can fans have start to legitimately talk about the fact that Florida State could possibly face Clemson as an undefeated team?
The number one game on here that actually concerns me more is the Boise State game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one's probably the biggest one. You're going all the way over there. They beat you last year. They have a good quarterback. He was a true freshman this year, or this last season. And that's probably the number one game that concerns me the most. Maybe even a second one would be NC State over West Virginia. I think Florida State should have a good crowd in Atlanta, so being at that West Virginia game might feel a little bit more at home. It's not that far away from Tallahassee, and I think Florida State is. I think it's such a. I think it's a good game for Mike Norvell. Start off neutral, just get that out of the way, and then you get to come back home and play Sanford, which shouldn't even be close. There's a possibility. I do think there might be one loss before facing Clemson, but most certainly if it was an undefeated FSU facing Clemson at home, you'd probably have College Game Day, and Florida State would be ranked in that top 25. I know Sports Illustrated put in their way too early top 25. They put Florida State at number 23, which is crazy nuts. But I think there's going to be at least one loss in there. I don't think there will be three though.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I think if Florida State can face Clemson 3-1, I will take that. Right now, realize we'll probably be 3-2 after that game just because of what Clemson brings back and what we are right now. But hell, if we can be undefeated, then I will take that right there. And then obviously we move back into the final month of the season in the month of November. Florida State with 2 home games, 2 away games, and Florida State back on a weekday game. Florida State will start off the month of November on November 7th when the Noles come down to the 305 to take on the rival Miami Hurricanes. They've lost 3 straight seasons to the Canes, last year obviously being the blowout that led to Willie Taggart being fired. Then Florida State hosts Boston College on November 14th. Then they have a road game on Thursday night against Syracuse. Hopefully the Carrier Dome's AC will work.
Yeah.
For that game. Let's hope for that one. And then they end the regular season against Florida on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Now, I personally hate the fact that Florida State and Miami are playing in November. I'm personally the person who's always said, we talked about this as the season went on, Florida and Miami, they should be playing each other. Florida and Miami should play each other the first week. Florida State and Miami should play each other in a 14-week season, week 6, week 7, earlier in the season, and then Florida State and Florida ending the year. I don't like Florida State and Miami playing this late in the season. What do you think about that? Do you want to see that game higher? Do you think it's the fact that both teams right now don't matter in the ACC title race?
I'm all about national attention and hyping things up. Always have been since I was little. So I'd like to see Miami be moved up a little bit more, if not middle of October. Late October. I don't like having them so close either, and this close of a span. And Miami games, I'm used to usually having some rain, used to having some humidity. And this is still November, early November in Tallahassee, so that might be different. But it just seems a little bit too late. Like you said, Jason, as usual. Of course, the Gators at the end of the season. You get a little bit of at the end of, like we were talking about, the Pittsburgh comes. The last time Florida State played Pittsburgh was in 2013 when Jameis made his debut. Who was going to end up being a Heisman winner that season. Pittsburgh travels here.
That was a good game.
That was kind of like okay.
Hey, this team might be good.
Kyle, I think we have a comment here from Kyle saying, Logan, you sure that's not a shroom salad? I promise it's not a shroom salad. I did put some Olive Garden dressing on here, but there's no shrooms. No, I can't really shroom the salad, to be honest.
I got food poisoning eating mushrooms on a salad at a certain establishment in Tallahassee before the
Yeah.
Miami game. I got food poisoning. I had to drive back. Great rest areas on the turnpike. I'll just throw that out.
Oh no.
Now then, Florida State back on. We talked about this. They're hosting Boston College, and then the Thursday night game later in the season. I'm not a huge fan of the Saturday to Thursday time. I would have liked it to be like the 2012 season where it played Virginia Tech on a Thursday night, had the bye week before that, so you have a little time right there. But it's the fact that you have a Boston College team finished the season with a losing record. You have a Syracuse team who I would argue was the most disappointing team in the ACC. So what are your thoughts on that little nugget of time period right there?
Which period again? From Syracuse?
The Boston College to Syracuse, playing the two games
in
a 5-day period.
Yeah. Boston College is probably going to be a better team if Syracuse showed us last year, and Dungy, and from what happened, I think Boston College with their new coach will actually be a better game. I know Adazio's gone, but also it's good to note too, who was their running back? AJ Dillon is no longer with Boston College, who absolutely I felt like he's been there since I've been, and since I was there in middle school. AJ Dillon's gone. But yeah, you go back to Syracuse. It's so hard. Once again, we get a new coaching staff. It's hard to kind of report and kind of predict these kind of things, but I'm not too worried about it. I like that Florida State has to face Boston College at home as more than I'd rather not have Florida State face them on a Friday night at Boston College, because that just never seems to really work out. But yeah, they're gonna have to come to Tallahassee, and then Florida State's gonna go to Syracuse, and they're gonna have to travel all the way up north for a good time, a grand time, which I will most certainly not be going to. Wow. If anybody's asking.
Western New York is beautiful on November 19th. It's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful time of the year. It'll be cold as hell. You'll be fine. You'll freeze your ass off. It's fine.
I'd love to see you go. I'll meet you there then.
If you buy a ticket, I will join you for
that one. No, that's not happening.
Not happening. That one. All right, so I'm going to put you on the spot right now. 7:30. We're almost at the halfway point here. I need a prediction. I need wins and losses right now. Your initial hot take prediction right now. Logan Robinson, no game day, go.
West Virginia. West Virginia is a win.
Are you going to go game by game?
I'll do it really quickly. Because I have to think. I got to think through my head here.
Okay, go.
West Virginia win. Sanford win. Boise State loss. NC State 50-50, but I'm going to go. Actually, you know what? Nah, I'm giving Florida State a win here at NC State.
Oh, thanks.
Clemson loss. Wake Forest. Wake Forest is going to be a win at home. Louisville win, even though Louisville is going to be very mad and coming into this game and pretty pissed off that Florida State stole their quarterback among a lot of other players and things, and God, they probably stole everything else. And then Pittsburgh, Florida State wins this game. Miami, Florida State is going to go to Miami during this game on November 7th. I'm going to go Florida State. I'm going to go Florida State win here, and that's going to be a bold prediction here, because obviously Florida State or Miami just brought in a quarterback. Boston College win, Syracuse win, loss to Florida, and yeah, that's it. So I don't know what that was. Was that 4 losses?
I think you said 4 losses. Right?
Yeah.
I can see it being 4 regular season right there. I think we've talked about it. I think that first stretch is going to be, if Florida State is 4-0 or 3-1 entering the Clemson game, I will have plenty of hope, plenty of confidence in that team going forward. If they're 2-2, or if the sky has fallen by that point, then we could be in some serious trouble. But we're here at the halfway point, so I'm going to give Logan the next 30 seconds to tell us why you should hit the like button on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football.
Yeah, most certainly. If you're now watching this, and I don't know, how many people do we have on here watching? We have 52 people, only 24 likes. If you hit that like button, that really helps Mark be able to get these videos out there more and also create more of a reach organically. And also will show up on your feed more and just helps out a lot if you hit that like button. Mark, if you're listening or watching, I did my due diligence. I did my job here. And if you're not liking the button, then I really don't know what you're doing. If you're not putting your finger and tapping, because I know a lot of y'all are on your phones, if you can find that like button and hit that, and if you can't find it, then I think you need to find some help. But other than that,
Mark Rogers is actually in the state of Florida. Mark Rogers is here with us in the state of Florida, and he is not with us here today.
wow, that says something that he really doesn't give a crap about us.
It's not that I'm mad, just disappointed.
Yeah, he must be having a better time than us.
You all right there? You need a moment there? You look like you were killing that salad. You good?
Yeah, no, it was good. It tasted good. I killed it. It's gone.
Awesome. John Starlin, one of our loyal commenters here, says, which side of the team are you expect to be more improved this year, offense or defense? To me, I think it's got to be defense. I saw a little bit more of offensive improvement last season than the joke it was the year before. So I'm gonna go with the defensive side of the football. I think the defense, I think they have to be better, especially in the secondary. I think they have to be better after last season. What do you think?
More improved is going to be the defensive side. You're bringing in guys that had season-ending injuries. You're bringing back Kane Doe, and you're also going to bring back Hamza Najee. And there's just so much talent coming back. Offense, I think there's just too many questions that have to be answered. The biggest one for the team overall is quarterback-wise, obviously. Running back situation, can Corbin get his transfer pass? What is it? You get his acceptance to be able to play, to have eligibility. That's all up in the air right now, too. And you're going to bring in a grad transfer running back. You're going to have, or not a grad transfer running back. Well, you bring him in, not a grad transfer quarterback, but a running back. I'm all over the place. Obviously, there's a lot of people that Florida State has. There might have been shrooms in this.
Are you sure you're not drunk?
There might be some shrooms in this. There's just so many things that has this offense is kind of just, it feels like, I don't know how to say it. You're bringing in dudes that are from JUCO who have transferred, the offensive linemen, late offensive recruits that you brought on. I think there's just too many question marks. Defense will be way better and improved next season. And I think Adam Fuller, I think there's still some questions to wonder about Adam Fuller, but from what he did last year, it's a positive sign.
Sir 5 wants to know if I'm a believer in Coach Norvell now. And there's been a lot of people the last 2 months who said that I am not a fan of Mike Norvell. And I guess I'll say it for the 1,000th time here on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. I have nothing against Mike Norvell being the head coach of Florida State. I am blind with my passion in Garnet Gold. That's my alma mater. If Logan was named the head coach, I'd be loyal to Logan. What I want is, if Florida State does have a losing season under Mike Norvell, I've renewed my season tickets. I will be there for as many games as possible this season, and I will do it no matter what, because that's my school. I want the same venom that people gave Willie Taggart for going 5-7 to continue towards Mike Norvell. And if not, you can't argue that there's not a double standard.
Yeah. All this guy does is get quality recruits to fill a spot. Okay. Well, this is all up to you, Jason. And if you really want to join,
this is the blind loyalty that I'm not going to get into why I think it's blind loyalty, but there's a certain level of certain people who are going to blindly give Mike Norvell all the credit in the world that Willie Taggart never got a second of credit for. And I think that goes back to, and I'll give Mike Norvell a compliment, that Mike Norvell did a very good job about being honest in his presser, saying, listen, it's going to take time. We're going to have to rebuild this. It's a lot different than when Willie came in and said, hey, we're going to win the ACC. We're going to play in the Orange Bowl. We're going to do all this. So I will say there's a different notion right now. Scott Davis, Travis will start over Blackman unless Purdy is the future of the quarterback position. I don't think Chuba Purdy or Tate Rodemaker sniff the starting lineup. I know you've talked about it before. I don't think either of them touch the field this season. I really do think Mike Norvell wants to go back to the old school Florida State style of guys coming in, learning, taking a year or two, and then becoming experienced. What do you think? Has that time sailed? I know we've talked about this is the new football. Has that time sailed of you being able to wait?
Nowadays with college football, no, man. I mean, yeah, you can go straight into bringing in a true freshman. Mike Norvell really wanted Chubba Purdy immediately. Tate Rodemaker is talented, yes, great for depth, but it would be between Chubba Purdy and Blackman for me. I think Jordan Travis would be behind it because Jordan Travis would be very good for Taggart and Kendall Briles' offense. But this has changed. It's still going to be a little bit quick, but you're still going to a pro style. Blackman and Chubba Purdy, I think, are your top two picks for who's going to be the starting quarterback. I don't see Jordan Travis being. He might maybe get some. I don't know. I think it was atrocious what they did last year with putting Blackman and Hornibrook and trying that whole mess out. That was disgusting and obviously didn't work out, and it was obviously stupid. Chubba Purdy, Blackman, most likely your starters going into what into West Virginia or middle of the season. I don't know. I think it's in between those two. I think Blackman will fit this offense better. He will. That's what he came to Florida State to play. He didn't come here to run around and do back spins and run and get the first down. He's supposed to be sitting there. Obviously, he had to do a lot more than what he was expected with what his offensive line looked like and how it's performed. But you got to hope Coach Atkins, the new offensive line coach, can help be able to protect the quarterback back there, because if not, it is going to be back to running around and having to find wide receivers that are open because there's no blocking for them to sit there and be able to read the defense.
Doug Arby, the voice of moral support here from the Appalachian State Mountaineers. Florida State will once again struggle to make a bowl game, and Norvell will regret leaving Memphis. You guys should try keeping a head coach around for longer than a year. That'd be great if you could do that at late. So yeah, stick to the group of five. You'll be just fine down there. Luigi Green, I think Tate will end up being the best quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised if Tate. The Chubu, he's a great quarterback. I don't think he's going to last. I think one of them will eventually transfer out. I think Tate Rodemaker has a better shot because his offense in high school is more used to what Florida State will be bringing in. And also Luigi Green with the 49ers. Since we're going to take this obligatory time to make fun of the University of Miami, just want to give a shout-out to UM for having such a great field that the 49ers almost moved their Super Bowl practices from the University of Miami this week. So congratulations to them. And the 49ers actually pay for grass at the University of Miami. Now, I want to know if they paid for the whole field of grass or just 70 yards like their indoor facility is.
Yeah. Thanks, Miami. Appreciate it, because I'm actually pulling for the 49ers in this game. So thanks, Miami, for having to really just screw everybody over. Not have a field ready for an NFL team to come practice for you. Really, really hate to see that kind of stuff. Just almost like poverty a little bit.
Doug Arby's crying right now, saying Appalachian State could kick Florida State's ass. Not in a million years, Doug. Not even if you block a field goal against Michigan in 2007. Sorry, Chief. Not gonna happen.
Yeah, that we do give a lot of claps for what they did then. That was awesome to see, and I love the documentary in the ESPN 30 for 30, and the movie that's coming out soon, and it's going to also be in the IMAX and everything. That was awesome what happened, but that ain't going to happen here in Tallahassee.
All those New Orleans Bowls, that they've won, and all those Camellia Bowls and all that other stuff. That's great moments in Group of Five history. Though I will agree, I'm sorry, I do think Kansas City. Oh, yeah, here we go. Kansas City defeats San Francisco 35-28. I do think Kansas City does win the Super Bowl. I'm saying 38-34. I don't think San Francisco has faced a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes yet. So,
yeah. I'm going 49ers. I think their defense is stupid good, and I don't have to think it. They are, and then also little Bosa coming off the edge. He's been just ridiculous this season. So I'm giving the 49ers all they can get. They're going to get it all. And then it might not even be, They win by 2 touchdowns, and I guarantee it right now.
Okay, you can guarantee it all you want to. The Chiefs have 2 nulls on it. One of them at media night told me that he doesn't lose in Miami. It's a fact. He did lose in Miami, so you do the math. Which former Seminole we're talking about on that one? But no, I think Kansas City.
We got some mad commenters in here. If you want to pull up Doug's.
Doug Arby is upset with us. You guys lost to Boise State, which wasn't as good as App State. That okay, and you almost lost to Louisiana Monroe. That's right, but unfortunately, there's a thing called wins and losses, and we won that game. So by 1 point or 60 points, they all count as this thing called a win. You should try that when you get up to the Power Five someday. We'll take you in the ACC. I'll trade. I will trade Louisville or Pittsburgh for App State right now. That'll be our homecoming game once every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That'll be good there. So, Luigi, Niners, Knowles, my teams are gold. Okay. Listen, hey, if the Niners win, it'd be great. They've won 2 Super Bowls down here. You know, I just think we got to root for KC a little bit.
Nah. Logan is proving that there was some magic mushrooms in that salad with that prediction. That's funny. Like I said, I was messing up earlier. There might be something that was in this romaine salad that I might need to take a better look at next time I buy it.
It might be the 6 beers you had to drink beforehand. That might be your appetizer.
No, I haven't had any time today. There's just been too much going on. Also, Nasir Upshur is going D2 and former tight end for FSU. That's something to note on that's happened.
Shout out to him. It's good to see he's being able to get a second chance. Speaking of second chances, it's a second chance for signing day coming up. The what used to be the real National Signing Day, and it's now kind of just become the back burner signing day. It happened Friday, February 5th. Florida State still has a couple guys who they're looking at. What can you tell us heading into the real, I still call it the real National Signing Day?
Yeah, no, I think it still is. I still try to get off of work for that and try to get my fingers ready to write. Sorry, that was just interesting. But I think Florida State, like we talked about earlier, you got a 5-star cat coming in now. Demore Tate gets moved up. You're really just trying to fill in needs and whatever is left on that market. Could there be some more guys that are ranked in that 4 and 5-star area where it fills in needs at offensive line? That is something that's going to be a storyline here. And there was some talks maybe about a 5-star running back, the best running back in the class, Zach Evans, who was predicted and pretty much signed to go to Georgia. It seems like there's a little bit of interest for him to come maybe dip his toes a little bit in Tallahassee and come look at Florida State. There could be a possibility there. I think he's also, if not, has already visited Tennessee. But I'd look at maybe in Florida State trying to bring in a grad transfer lineman, but also maybe look at Florida State being able to bring in another talented offensive lineman that has already had really high interest in another SEC school. And I would look at Florida State trying to do this, but Florida State's done what they need to do, fill in the needs. That was the name of our podcast today. Florida State and Mike Norvell are filling in the needs that needed to be done, and they did it pretty quickly. And they're obviously trying to gain momentum to continue to bring in guys that they can compete with against Clemson, that they can compete with against Florida and Miami. So also got to start competing with North Carolina in the recruitings. The logo is still ways different football wise for FSU, which helps, but continuing to fill in these needs is what Florida State is doing. They've basically done this so far, but I would look for maybe a surprise on offensive line front that might be going. That is also an SEC East with Georgia, maybe trying to flip a guy from there and the guy that's interested in Georgia. Coach Atkins has some pretty interesting and strong relationships with some guys that have already committed. And he might be able to try to have some flip watch going on.
Florida State right now ranking as the 20th class in the year 2020, according to 24/7 Sports in their rankings right now. Where do you see that class ending up being ranking? What surprises, if anything, do you see come Wednesday?
I'm not a crazy recruiting expert by any. That's why we have two other guys that cover it for me at NoleGameDay.com. But I think what do what?
That's why we bring you in here. Thank you for just
yeah.
good
Yeah, but from what I've learned and the last year and what this class is, and after losing a coach, I think for Florida State to feel good, I think being that from the top 15 to top 22, top 20 is decent for what has happened, and from what Florida State has needed to bring in, they've done. It's got to continue to grow, though. Florida State's going to have to start building a little bit on the defensive end front. Continue to try to bring in top tier talent offensively on the front line. And yeah, I think Florida State fans should be very happy if it's been in between about top 18 to between like top 16 to top 2022. I think they should be all right with it.
As we go down here, the final seconds, 7 seconds to go in the Florida State basketball game. Florida State is up 28. They'll go into the locker room 28-27 at halftime over the defending national champions, looking for the season sweep of Virginia.
Wow. Yeah.
Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, is going to hate me for saying this. I know that he rolls his eyes when we talk about anything other than Florida State football. Are we a basketball school now?
Feels like it. I was just there on Saturday in the Tuck, and I actually saw a lot of the FSU staff. Mike Norvell was in attendance for the game, along with Ron Dugans, Tomlinson, actually Florida State's new, pretty much your new GM almost that they brought from the Rams. Was also in attendance. A lot of coaches, and also the two official visitors that was there, and Keyshawn Helton. So, I mean, it feels that way. It was a blackout game, and, Leonard Hamilton deserves it. I mean, he has been here for so long, but also it just seems like he hasn't really hit his peak yet, which is pretty interesting. Florida State is now a top 5 team in the country. They're projected to possibly be a number 2 seed at, the minimum right now, it feels like. And Florida State is at the top of the ACC. Obviously, it's a very interesting year in college basketball. But, right now, I think it's good. But, you kind of want to see it change a little bit. You'd like to see football sneak in there and get in that top 10, top 15. And, this would turn out to be a pretty impressive school, if Norvell can do this. But, yeah, Leonard Hamilton deserves a lot. And from what I was just told moments ago, a guy that was actually with Hamilton's staff, Florida State is looking to land another 5-star basketball recruit in the next year, if not earlier. So that would be we're not, of course, talking about Scotty Barnes, but Florida State might be on a roll, and it looks like Leonard Hamilton's not going anywhere.
Between basketball and women's soccer, I mean, we're just I guess we're the real all-around school now. Not that school down in Hogtown. I guess we're the real one.
Well, they have gymnastics and at Gainesville.
The SEC, they do have gymnastics there.
They do have gymnastics, so always good to note on.
They also have tight ends who ended up murdering people when they got to the NFL. We can talk about that.
Well, they also, but you know what happens though? You get your own Netflix series, so that's pretty unique, right?
Well, it's good. If you do get a chance, shout out to the people who made that the Netflix series about Aaron Hernandez. You need to watch that. What are we doing this week on Nole Game Day? Tell us what's going on. What can people click on and give you page views for?
They can click on a lot of things. I think we've had 6 or 7 things go out today, content-wise, covering the new commits, interviews, also a little bit of basketball with a preview. Obviously, tonight that's going to be pretty much over with, but you can also see a piece that our new writer Charleston just joined and talks about the Cell being a first-round projection for the upcoming NBA draft. There's a lot of stuff, football and basketball-wise. Baseball is going to start to turn up a little bit more too. But football, we actually have we're trying to do a uniform concept every week. This could kind of drive some engagement and get some conversation going on. A lot of people like it. Some people don't, but it's just for fun. It's not official. But we got a pretty cool one coming out tomorrow that I think Jason is going to love, because Mike Norvell noted on, he said in the interview that he is down for the uniform combinations and switching it up. Seems like
Yeah, Mike was being nice to you. There's a couple of them that have not looked bad. There's a couple of them that you might want to move
What's your favorite uniform combination?
on. FSU.
Yep.
I'm traditional. I'm the garnet jersey, gold pants. It's the greatest. It's the greatest uniform in college football. It's the greatest uniform in all of athletics. It is the greatest uniform in all of planet Earth. It is the gold helmet, garnet jersey, gold pants, greatest uniform ever. And anyone who disagrees is wrong. And I will listen to all points.
Would you like to see Would you like to see? Because I would like to see the pants a little bit more gold with shiny, like the gold shiny ones that were there back in the day.
I don't mind the uniform colors, the numbers being gold. I don't mind any of that stuff. I will admit, I like the white on white, like we wore at Notre Dame in 2003. I like the garnet pants, the white jersey and the garnet pants. I'm a sucker for garnet on garnet. I did like the garnet on garnet, even though we got killed in it the last time we wore them against Florida in the 2018 season. But I do think the garnet on garnet is sexy. I'm all a fan of the gold helmet. I got multiple gold helmets back there right now.
Gold.
I'm not a fan of the garnet helmet. I'm not a fan of the black god awful helmet we wore from Nike back in 2009 one time. Stick with the gold helmet. I'm sorry.
Yeah, please keep the gold helmets. I'd like to see a little bit of all black and gold helmet. I think that would be pretty sexy because I think that was worn by Leon Washington, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
That was pretty dirty.
Yeah, we wore all black with a gold helmet when we lost to Boston College in 2006. I believe when we lost to Boston College in 2008, when we barely beat Duke in 2007. All black is no. All black is great in a Young Jeezy song, all black everything, but not in this. Yes, I just shouted out Jeezy here. That's how we're shouting out Young Jeezy.
Jeez, and look at the comment section too. It looks like we've just kind of created a complete argument about the AAC and Power 5.
We went from talking about the playoffs. There was some bashing of both President Trump and Senator Sanders in here. I mean, we went on the complete era here with our Mark Alvin's going to be so happy when he comes back and sees what we did here.
Yeah, Mark's going to be really happy for what's happening.
And Kyle Pickett with the comment that ends the night, Logan, no more blackouts.
I'm not blacking out anytime soon. I don't know what y'all talking about.
Friday night could happen. That's all I'm saying.
The Friday night. Maybe.
He is Logan Robinson from Noel Game Day. Logan, thank you. Thank you for joining us this week. Let's do it again next Tuesday.
Sounds great to me. Enjoyed an awesome evening with you, Jason.
FSU fans, everyone, have a great week. Enjoy the Super Bowl. I'm going to try to actually survive this week covering it. If I do survive, we'll see you here next Tuesday on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football.